I would be remiss if I didn't mention how much this looks like a casting couch. So, Richard, I appreciate you joining me. You just gave a fantastic presentation upstairs. I gave you a whole list of things that I thought would come up, but the first thing I actually want to talk to you about is something that I noticed from upstairs. It's the first time I've ever done and been at a barrel release party where the distiller or blender spent 95% of the time talking about things that weren't the mash bill, the yeast, the barrel, the bottle itself. And for me personally, I love it, okay? Because I try to always focus on the relationship aspects, the conversations that occur, the deeper things that happen with whiskey. So where does that come from for you?
Exactly, especially for the whiskey side, I always loved whiskey, and whiskey's so elegant, but especially in this industry, just telling stories, and really, our bigger mission is the military, so that's our bigger mission. I mean, the whiskey is more secondary than the mission. Our mission is first is to help our veterans, because a lot of them have been thanked, for what they do for our country. So, but we're always going to release phenomenal single barrels. We're always about the juice first before the label. A lot of people think, we have a cool label, cool bottle, and
they're beautiful. All of them are gorgeous.
Yep. Well, let's drink some shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got it.
And by the way, I'm here with Richard Paul from Art of the Spirits Distilling, out of Colorado Springs. He's doing thank you. There were 4 barrel picks in the St. Louis area?
10 barrel picks. 10 barrel picks. First time I came out here. Yep. 10 barrel picks out here. So kind of did a broad range of different barrel picks. But the St. Louis Bourbon Society, what we released today, it was 7-year rye, MGP 95.5, finished in a Buffalo Trace mash bill 2 barrel. So it was 117 proof. And just a phenomenal pick, it really was. So we do a lot of our ryes like that. And let's see, where's that bottle? I thought we had
the St. Louis Bourbon Society pick. Let me just grab mine.
That's what I was going to say. Grab one of those.
Yep. Yeah. This is the St. Louis Bourbon Society barrel pick. 7-year, 58.9%, so 117. 58.7, so 117.4 proof. I was blown away by how good this was.
Yeah.
Like when I first, no, I'm not gonna set it up there. That would be rude. When I first tasted it, I got a whole lot of cherry, but then you're just punched in the face with caramel, like a sweetness that I did not expect from the nose. It's got a fantastic nose, but just that blast of caramel and a killer, really, really long finish.
Yeah, they picked a really great one. I mean, when I first came to the clubhouse, we set up a numerous round of barrels. All of our single barrel ryes, they come in an Elmer T. Lee bottle, but they either get finished. They're all single barrels, hand selected by my team and they're either in a Buffalo Trace mash bill 1 or 2, or in a Bardstown wheated bourbon barrel, or we have them in 4 Square rum sometimes, and Weller wheated bourbon barrel ring label. So those are the kind of 4 barrels that we kind of finish the single barrel ryes in. But they're all hand selected barrels before they go in there. So we know what they're like. The barrels don't change them as much. They more enhance them from what they were. But this one's a really unique one, and mash bill 2 could be either Blanton's. I know E.H. Taylor.
Elmer T. Lee.
Yeah.
Rock Hill Farms.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Just fantastic bottles come out of mash bill 2.
It does, yeah. So we have more mash bill 2 than 1, but we have kind of a mix of those barrels in the distillery. So, but this was a great pick. This was one of the ones that came out to St. Louis, and it was just a phenomenal one. So I'm really glad that we got to release it tonight with you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I was able to come over and check it out. So, we are recording from the St. Louis Bourbon Society Speakeasy. So if there's background noise, I'm going to do my best to edit it out. But there's probably about 50 people behind this wall out there drinking, enjoying, um, and they're not paying for their drinks because
Yep.
that's part of being part of the Speakeasy. You bring your own bottles. So, Richard, question for you. the there are so many non-distilling producers out there
Yeah.
and craft distilleries out there.
Mhm.
What do you think sets yours apart from the smorgasbord that exists?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people go this way, and in this industry, I tend to go this way. We're the only brand in the world to only do cask strength single barrels. So if you do find our stuff in stores, they kind of hand select a whole single barrel to even get it in their store. So we're not going to be on every store, every shelf, every bar. We're just very unique in that way. Um, but what makes us a lot different is the military came and commissioned us. 10 Special Forces, Navy SEALs, the Marines, and the Air Force this year. So, but the bigger mission we have is helping veterans with every barrel pick. This one is another special one that we released. Jared Schmitz and that's what we're sipping on right now. This
This
one,
is good.
this is our first cigar blend. It's a boot rye finished in a tawny port cask, and 55% single barrel rye blended with a 45% single barrel bourbon. We don't do big blends and then put them in. We do single barrel blends and do it that way. So those are very unique. This one is cask strength at 107.6. It commemorates the 13 Marines that died in 2021. And Jared was one of those. There was 11 Marines, one Army, and one Navy veteran that died. So we collaborated with Freedom 13 Foundation out here in Missouri to come up with this one, and this is Jared that's on the front and the side label. So, but this is just a phenomenal pick. This barrel pick, we have 15 stores trying to steal it from us, and I released it to 10 Special Forces veteran. He owns Clicks, Veterans, Patriots, and Freedom in Colorado Springs. And so they're the one that's going to get it.
That's
So,
cool. That's awesome.
But yeah, this is our first cigar blend, and the Devil Dogs. But the first Devil Dogs hit here in Missouri. It's a bourbon finished in tawny port.
That's awesome.
So, but all the port barrels, they come over from Portugal. We import them from there. Our ruby and tawny ports come from there. So.
Very cool. So you just brought up something that it wasn't a question that I had thought of until this very moment, but I try to really focus on making sure that people new to bourbon don't feel stupid asking questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'd like for you to take a second to describe what is a cigar blend, because that's something that, like, when you hear, oh, it's finished in it's finished in a port barrel or finished in Tokai or whatever, that's easy to understand. You put it into a barrel that was previously used for whatever. But what's a cigar blend?
That's a good question because, I watch so many different podcasts, and I know Fred Minnick and a lot of different guys were talking about, a lot of brands, they'll just use cigar blend just as a marketing scheme.
Yes.
And that's never what I'm about. Like I said, we're about the juice first, always before then the label. And, a cigar blend to me has to pair with the cigar, no matter what. My director of operations, Megan, she is a cigar aficionado. She is a som. And when we did this pick, we took it to a bunch of people in Colorado Springs, and they were just all blown away. They're like, and she has her own cigar group, Holy Smokes, and they smoke cigars with it. We're just blown away. It just truly pairs with the medium to full body type of cigar.
Yeah.
But this is a true cigar blend, and I didn't want to do all these crazy triple cask and different ones. I just wanted something great that finished with the cigar, to call it a cigar blend. So this is a Boo Rye, 55% single barrel rye and 45% single barrel bourbon finished in tawny port, and that's what created our first cigar blend.
Yeah.
So we're talking with St. Louis Bourbon Society to collab on our next cigar blend, which is a Boo Rye finished in tawny port with cognac XO stapes.
Nice.
So
that sounds utterly delicious.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this comes out, and hopefully we'll be releasing it by October. It's kind of what we're pushing for. So we'll see how it kind of marriages in the barrel right now, and we'll come back and visit it and send samples out and see where.
Gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. We're thinking it'll be under our military commemorative for 10 Special Forces. It'll be the originals. So this one is our Green Beret bottle, and so we're thinking we're going to do a Boo Rye tawny port finish with cognac XO staves, and that'll be the cigar blend, the first one to ever hit Missouri. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're working on some great things though. We try to be really creative with all the single barrels we do, because they're all one-offs. Not every store is going to have the same one, so it's just a different business model than everybody in this industry. Most of them have their everyday products, and it's not what I'm about. So, I love doing cask strength, and that's all we do. And single barrels is an art to it. There's so much that goes into it, especially when you're blending Boo Ryes. Because most, kind of like High West, they do big barrel blends to create their Boo Rye and then proof it down to 90. It's a bigger challenge finding single barrels that marriage together and then figuring out what finish you're going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother challenge than blending 20, 30 barrels and then finishing it or just releasing it as a Boo Rye. You know what I mean?
So I know you don't know this, but it's funny that you brought up High West, because one of my best friends, who I guarantee will definitely be one of the people who watches every single moment of this interview at least once. He's now the master distiller at a place in Utah called Outlaw.
Okay.
But he was a distiller at High West.
Okay.
And he and I, we argue constantly. Nah, we don't argue. We jab back and forth, because I say that distilling is mostly skill, but a whole lot of art. And he says, no, I'm a tradesman. I'm a skilled tradesman. And I'm like, okay, right. But you lose control of it once it gets in that barrel. All you can do once it gets in that barrel is pull it at the right time.
Yeah.
And the art is knowing when to pull it out of that barrel.
Yeah.
Knowing what's going to happen, what you think is going to happen. That's the art. You don't have direct control.
Yeah.
You have direct control over the distillation process, the fermentation, the when do you cut heads, when do you cut tails. That's science. That's absolute science. But the art comes from knowing what's going to happen when you lose control.
Yeah.
So I love hearing you talk about this, because when I was outside smoking a cigar after your presentation, I referred to you to the couple that I was talking with. I was like, that man's a true artist.
Yeah.
Like, he's a true artist in knowing how to marriage multiple things together to create beauty.
Yeah.
And hearing you talk about it, it just expands on that. Like you're a true artist, so I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, man. And a lot of people always ask, how did I get started? I learned from the masters in the art world of David Yule and Daniel James. I mean, they are like the Rembrandts in our living age, and they were licensed by Harley Davidson since 1993. They created over 500 t-shirt designs for Harley. These guys are the true masters of art, so to me, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. To commission them, it's around, $50,000, $90,000 a commission.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies can't even get in touch with David. He's so busy, and but I'm just a true honor to call him a brother and a friend, and and to be able to showcase him on our bottles is just truly amazing. But I learned from those guys a true skill that is you can't go to college and learn it. And I worked for those guys for $10 an hour when I started, and something told me, "Don't worry, it's not about the money." And I know why now. Now I know why I worked for those guys, and it's just a huge blessing. And they tell me all the time, like, it's amazing to see what you've done and what you accomplished. And I told them I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So
Yeah.
I truly appreciate it. But those are the masters of art that I learned from, and I soaked up every second of it.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic. So, at 2023 San Francisco,
yeah,
you literally slayed.
yeah,
3 double golds, 2 golds, and a silver.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually absolutely killed at San Francisco, which is just unheard of to do what you did. It really is. But I'm not talking to the judges at San Francisco. I'm talking to Richard Paul right now.
Yeah.
Which blend are you most consistently proud of?
A lot of those were mostly single barrels, but there was a couple blends that we submitted. But like I tell everybody, honestly, didn't even give a shit about the awards. The awards didn't mean what we're about, because most brands chase all these awards and try to say we're award winning. I never went about that. I released in 2016, and barely now in 2023 I went after awards just to show people what we do.
Yeah.
I only did it because people was like, "Well, what awards you got?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm not about chasing awards. I'm about the juice, the experience and the mission we're on." And everybody knows, people know word of mouth what I'm about. I don't need awards to say, "Hey, we have great things," and things like that. So I already knew we're going to get a bunch of awards, but it's not something I cared about.
Yeah.
But the most proud of one was the Boot Rye. This was a Missouri pick. I landed in Missouri. I talked to Rocks, who is the owner of On the Rocks. It was our first Boot Rye finished in Foursquare rum. We submitted it to San Francisco as kind of a joke, to tell you the truth, between all of us. And this one hit double gold and was in the running to win Best of Class. We were one of 3 brands to win Best of Class. And this one is truly, honestly, one of the proudest ones that, all of us, me and my team are proud of.
Yeah.
And it's in Missouri.
Yeah.
It's at On the Rocks. It's 120.8 proof. It is honestly just the most unique, whiskey. And again, it's a 55% single barrel rye blended with 45% single barrel bourbon.
Yeah.
Finished in Foursquare rum.
Yeah.
And it was just truly phenomenal. That one, we did the other one was a 70th anniversary for 10th Special Forces Group. That one hit one of the golds.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 126.6 proof. It was an 18-year rye finished in Foursquare. And that was honestly a truly phenomenal one too. So we submitted it just to give recognition to the Green Berets.
Yeah.
And but I already knew they were going to come back with awards. I honestly, but just didn't really care. It's not something I, push for awards, because everybody knows in all the states we're in, they know what we're about.
Right.
It's not going to be okay. If it's not great, we don't even release it.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge because we just do barrel picks. So that's the challenge. We can't be in every state. We can't be in every store.
Mm-hmm.
But to the great ones that have us, they know what we're about.
Yeah.
So, and the people, just like St. Louis Bourbon Society, they know. They know, hey, we're on a whole different level than everyone else in this industry. And, and I'm not trying to compete with anybody in this industry. There's no competition for me, so I don't look at anybody competition. I learn every day. I'm still learning from great master distillers, Psalms. They teach me so much knowledge, and I'm just an artist at heart. So and they're true artists too of their craft, and I love learning from those type of artists as well. So but honestly, yeah. So I hope that answered your question.
It does. It absolutely does. Fantastic. And actually, I haven't tried this one, man.
Yeah. Oh, feel free, man. This one's. I'll have some with you.
Cool. So, there was a question I wanted to ask here. Let me get you first. Tell me when.
That's good.
All right. So when you are not blending and making just fucking fantastic whiskey, and you're not donating tens of thousands of dollars to military funds and veterans, etc., what are you doing?
That's a good question. I have 5 kids, a wife, so.
No shit.
Yeah. I got 5 kids, 1 years old to 9, so they're a big inspiration. I started this company when I had my first kid. I sold my house and everything I own, and I went after it.
Yeah.
And I bootstrapped everything, and the first years were pretty hard. I didn't have a chance to even travel or do anything I didn't have the funds to. Sometimes a lot of those old bottles I can keep. I can afford to. So and during those beginning years, we were releasing a 3-year bourbon in a 30-gallon char 4, and I was selling at 125, and that was a hard ask.
Yeah.
I got laughed at. It's all good though. And then I started doing cask strength, which was this Easy Elegance, and that's what we did, a cask strength rye. Sold it out at $220. It was a 3.5-year rye in a char 4 30-gallon barrel, and ever since then, no one asked me for 90 proof, so I strictly only went cask strength, and then only did barrel pick since 2017. So,
and that's when things changed for you.
That's when things changed.
Yeah.
And a little bit. COVID was that's when we released Bonnie and Clyde. That was a challenge. This Bonnie and Clyde we did with David Yule, and we were releasing it during the pandemic. It was March. It's like March 16. It was right in the middle of when they announced the pandemic, and so we had a burlesque show all planned out in Denver. I had all my clients ready. They were sold out. It was $150 a ticket. They had a dinner paired with this whiskey. And then we had a 6-performance burlesque show planned for it. I had a huge bunch of sponsors. It was going to be a great time, because I used to do these and they would sell out every time, and we didn't get to have it. But so everybody got bottles. It sold out in a day. It was $250 a bottle.
Jesus.
And sold out in a day. So.
Well, congrats for that.
Yeah.
It's a shame that everybody else missed out on the fun.
Yeah, they all drunk it at home during COVID, so it's all good. But Bonnie and Clyde now is a whole barrel finish series. We either take a rye or bourbon. We finish either Madura, Tawny Port, Ruby Port, Foursquare Rum. I'm working on Tokai, Sherry, just some unique finishes.
Yeah.
So. But that's what Bonnie and Clyde. It's a whole barrel finish series. So anytime you see Bonnie and Clyde in stores, it's probably finished in some sort of unique barrel. So
I was talking to Drew from St. Louis Bourbon Society.
Yep.
He was mentioning that you're really selective on who you partner with to do barrel picks.
Yeah.
What characteristics are you looking for?
I've denied many groups, many whiskey groups, even stores. If they're kind of not on the right mission that we're on, especially our military commemoratives, I just deny them because I don't do our military commemoratives for money.
Yeah.
I do these to commemorate our veterans, and each barrel pick we take a veteran out to Costco, and sometimes some of these groups, sometimes there's drama in them, and there's just some things that I kind of disapprove, so I don't care to do it with them. It's not something we have to, and we've been booked out with barrel picks, so it's amazing that I can do that, but I don't care to be in every group, every store. It's just not what I care about. So.
Yeah.
but it all depends. You get a feel for people and who they are, and but St. Louis Bourbon Society always been great. And I knew, hey, let's do a pick with them. Like they're great people, and they have great people in their club. So that's why I wanted to partner with them to do the first one, and we're talking about doing future barrels too. So
That's awesome.
so yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds with them.
So I try telling people, like, constantly, literally constantly, that in my opinion, St. Louis Bourbon Society is probably, in my opinion, the best bourbon society that I've ever known about or experienced.
Yeah.
And it starts with, I don't, it's probably, no, it's not, but I thought maybe it's, most of our glasses say it on it, but it says fellowship in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the focus for the society, for St. Louis Bourbon Society. And I've always referred to this brown liquor as either whiskey, I don't care if it's bourbon, rye, I don't give a shit, or spirits. When I'm talking about vodka, I don't call them liquor or alcohol. I call them spirits. I like that analogy a lot better. And I think that one of the great things about St. Louis Bourbon Society is that they truly do focus on the spirit of community, of group.
Yeah.
They donate thousands of dollars, so I'm super glad not only that you decided to work with the society so that I get to taste your amazing whiskey, but I like the fact that you recognized that about St. Louis Bourbon Society.
Yeah, for sure. Not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So not all the groups are like that. There's a lot of drama in different groups, and I try not to get into all that and the politics. And in some groups they thought we were trying to promote gun violence with our labels, and I had to jump on this group and tell them, and share pictures of all these Green Berets in our distillery. Like, hey, we're not promoting any gun violence or mass shootings or anything like that.
Right.
We're all responsible gun owners, and this is to commemorate our military.
Yeah.
They commissioned me for a reason, and I made a promise to them I would never release anything that was garbage ever in a single barrel. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's what I try not to get into all that. So that's why I try to be very selective on what groups we're in. We don't just let anybody hand select our barrels. So but St. Louis Bourbon Society, yeah,
that's awesome.
They're in.
Love to hear it. So did you actually serve in the military?
No, all my family did.
Okay.
So dad, grandpa, uncles, everybody did. I'm a bootlegger, so yeah. I serve a different way. So, but when I was gonna go in 19, that's when I got a call for an interview to go with these artists. I was gonna go in the Army, and these artists called me, and someone told me to go to this interview, and it was only $10 an hour, so I was actually gonna skip it. I was just in my mind, I was like thinking, man, should I even go to this? And so maybe my guides just told me, hey, go to this. It's bigger, something bigger, and I found out what. So later on,
you made the right decision, man.
Yeah, I made the right decision to go work for them for $10 an hour.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have so many Green Berets. Just like last week, I was hanging around with probably like 70 Navy SEALs that swim in the mission in New Hampshire. And great thing with them, we did these boxes. They were handmade by an 18-year Green Beret.
I want to turn these. So I was in the Army for 11 years,
Awesome.
and I wanted to turn because I want to make sure that people can see the side there where it says FK Suicide 2.
Yep.
Fuck suicide.
Yep.
One of my excuse me, it's important to me. One of the things that's most important to me is veteran suicides.
For sure.
It's happens way too much. So when you were up there and you talked about that being on the box and these boxes being made by a Green Beret, it really hit me hard. And so thanks for what you do in regard to that.
Yeah, don't worry, thank me. God sent me on this mission, and The men and women that I meet is they're all honored to meet me. They come and shake my hands and very thankful. And but honestly, I'm the other way. I'm honored to thank them. And but a lot of them never been thanked. And that's a sad, hard truth. Is a lot of our veterans that don't get the right treatment they need. Tomorrow I get to take out a 12-year Army veteran of Missouri, and taking him to Costco. He has two kids, a wife, and I'm gonna go fill up a whole cart of groceries for him. So he's very thankful. He's been struggling to. He told me, I think he said he's trying to get a disability, and they just won't give it to him. And he is disabled. And a lot of vets, somewhere in 20, 30 years that I talked with, and they ain't given disability. And they put that long in, like, you know they deserve hell of a lot more. And so we do a little bit, but it's a debt that we can never truly repay back. It's something we owe, um, as Americans. And many people don't want to pay it back. We have so many homeless veterans, and sad part is we're letting other people in from other countries, and we're not even taking care of our veterans. It's like, doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm doing the best I can and trying to put promotion, but the fuck suicide is a huge thing. And we talked with another foundation. I wanted to put fuck stigma. He told me, and I talked with all the SEALs and Green Berets, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
we're gonna put what it is.
Yeah.
It's fuck suicide, and that's exactly what it is. We need to stop this any way we can. So I invite so many different veterans to come help us dump barrels, bottle, get your mind off some things. Come help us. Come spend a day with us. I invite them all the time. And then they get a gift from us at the end of the day. For coming to help us, man. So and a lot of them never dumped a barrel, never tasted straight from the barrel. And a lot of us distillery owners take that for granted. And a lot of them don't even let people in the back, to help them do that. And so that's my big emphasis. I have so many veterans that come in and do that and help us. And so we have a whole wall at the distillery dedicated to Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Air Force, Space Force, Army, Marines. We have some Coast Guard, first responders. So everybody has donated priceless patches and coins and things to us. So I'm truly grateful. But it reminds me every day I walk in there, the mission we're on. So
Yeah.
I never forget that.
That's cool. That's cool. I do want to make sure that people truly remember, though. We spent all this time talking about non-whiskey stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to remind people that one of the first things Richard said was the juice always comes 1st,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yep.
so I love the fact that you recognize whiskey comes first.
Yeah.
But let's not place too much of a priority on that, because the whiskey's fucking good.
Yeah.
So why prioritize that? Let's talk about this other stuff, because the whiskey, honest to God, like, folks, this is my first time ever tasting it. The whiskey the whiskey speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So the fact that we can sit here and talk about non-whiskey stuff, that's
Yeah.
life, dude. That's
Exactly.
fucking fantastic.
I'll give you an idea too. I went to Texas. First time I went there, these guys are crazy. Booked me out. They said, look, no one in this industry is doing what you're doing. There's always some brands that have, this is okay, this is great, this is not so good. They have their everyday stuff. All I do is cask strength single barrels. And they said your whole lineup is phenomenal. And we had stores that hand selected 10 barrels at a time.
Yeah.
So, but I don't need awards to tell people what kind of great, but most people want to see all these awards. Well, what all these awards got? Honestly, it doesn't matter. I've seen so many distilleries with all these, chain of awards, and then you try it and you're like, come on,
Nah. Yeah.
come on. It's basic.
Yep.
And so I don't care. I don't chase the awards. I only went it after this year to show people what we do. So we're going to the New York competition. That's a sister company in San Francisco. and so we're submitting some heavy hitters to there. So I'm excited to see what comes of that one. So
That's awesome.
but this is the only time that I even went after awards. I never cared for it.
Yeah.
It was never a priority. But everybody knows that ever tried Art of the Spirits. They know what we're about.
Yeah.
We're not a gimmick. We're not anything about that. And like I said, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So, but we make sure every barrel pick is phenomenal. If it's not phenomenal, it doesn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I've now tasted 4 different blends of yours, 4 different spirits of yours.
Yep.
All 4, holy fuck good.
Yep.
Like all 4 of them, literally mind-blowingly good.
Yeah.
So
thanks for that. It's not surprising.
To you, it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think most people, because you taste a lot of different brands, and then you're like, oh, this is their great one, and then it's
Yeah.
So, but for all of us, we have different expressions, but they're all going to be great. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there's what I love is going to festivals or different places, and then there's always those guys that I hate rye, and I'm like, all right, so you haven't had a great rye, and then I try them with the ryes in Buffalo Trace or Weller. I get them to buy 2-3 bottles every time.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I never had anything this great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you, you haven't had a great rye. So.
So you said something upstairs also that it was one of the only questions you got from the group upstairs, and I'm glad somebody asked, because otherwise I would have from the very. I mean, if you saw me, I was in the very back row trying to make sure I stayed out of everybody else's way.
Yeah.
Because I'm awkward. I get in people's way fucking constantly, so I just try to find a corner to sit in, so I don't fuck something up. An 18-year-old rye.
Yeah.
Let me say that again for the listeners not listening fully devoted to this while they're listening to it. An 18-year-old rye.
Yeah.
That is fucking unheard of.
Yeah.
Where'd you find it? What'd you do with it?
So these barrels came from Alberta. It was an 18-year rye, 100% unmalted rye. They definitely needed some work, but the Green Berets, 10 Special Forces came to me, and they had a 70th anniversary coming. So they hand selected 3 barrels for their 70th anniversary. 2 762 straight bourbon whiskey single barrels, and which one of those picks hit double gold in San Francisco, and the 18-year rye, which was 126.6 proof. And we submitted that to San Francisco for the Green Berets. That hit a gold medal out there. So that whole barrel got sold out. It went to the 10 Special Forces guy in Colorado Springs. He sold it at his stores. So it all got sold out.
Yeah. So when you get an 18-year-old rye,
yeah,
like, I mean, rye ages so fast anyway.
For sure.
So, like, when you get something that's that age, so did it come out of Alberta Premium or just out of...
They really didn't let us know. They
Okay.
just told us it was out of Alberta. So that's, we got it from a broker. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's all the only information they released to us.
Okay.
So.
Like, an 18-year-old rye, like I said, that's freaking unheard of because
Yeah.
rye ages so much faster than than even a bourbon that's just got rye in it. Like, when you tasted it and you said it needed a lot of work, what did you pair it with? What did you finish it in?
This one got finished in a 4-square. It was a 12-year 4-square rum barrel. And then we had toasted staves in it as well.
Okay.
So, and then we put it in a container, and it was in a hot container. Really, for 2 summers, really expanded, contracted the wood, and really changed it into a remarkable, beautiful painting. Because that's all I could explain. Because it wasn't as great. I'm not a fan of Alberta as much. The barrels we got. Some of them, I would say maybe even had 4 bottles in it. So we had to empty them. We put them in 2 different 4-square barrels, so they were blends. And all they did is fill up as much as we could of two different Foursquares.
Yeah.
And so one of them went to 10 Special Forces 70th anniversary. The other one went to commemorate Michael Thornton, who is a Vietnam Medal of Honor recipient. So it commemorated him, and both of them got sold out instantly. So the next one we have coming up November of 2023 will be a Michael Thornton. It's his barrel still. I'm hoping to get Mike to come to the distillery and help us dump it. That would be really awesome. But it's a 20-year now, and it's finished 2.5 years in a Foursquare rum cask.
Jesus.
And it'll come in these custom boxes made by Barry, who's a Green Beret, and they're going to be a Fuck Suicide Michael Thornton, and they're all pre-sold, so they're all gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love to hear that.
Yep. So we'll go help a family with that barrel pick, and it'll drop during the holidays. We're going to be shipping to 45 states here pretty soon off our website. So I'm going to try to throw one or two on there. That way someone has the opportunity to at least buy it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because most of the time these allocated ones, you never get a chance.
True story.
Unless
you know somebody,
exactly,
or are willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So, that's a good approach, man. I like that.
First one, the 18-year for Michael Thornton was 135.5 proof. So.
Jesus. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was. It was really good. And I still have people calling me. The only one that I ever gave them to was a 32-year Navy SEAL called me. And he actually worked with Mike sometime in the SEALs. And, I told him, hey, this is something you need to have. Mm-hmm. And dude cried, sent me a picture, and just very thankful, and didn't charge him a dime for it.
Good for you, dude.
So
that's awesome.
So sent him out $1,000 package, and dude just he sent me some great pictures. So that's what it's all about, though. I love it to go to them more than it is all these different taters trying to get all these rare bottles and stuff. Honestly, it needs to go to our military. Let those dudes out. Let them share it with their brothers and sisters. Because that's what it's about. It's not for these other tater people.
Yeah.
It's for our military. So I make an emphasis on getting it to them more than other people just random trying to chase my bottles. So.
Yeah. Love hearing it, dude.
Yeah.
So I've got one last question. And it's really mostly just for the audience. So for folks that are listening that are part of a bourbon society or part or a store owner, how do they reach you to try to become to build a relationship with you to get your products?
Well, it varies from state to state. That's what I tell everyone. Every state is a kind of different monster. So it varies what state you're in.
Because fuck the 21st Amendment.
Yeah. So, it's more just reaching out to me personally. You can shoot me an email, richard@artofthespirits.com, or, send us a message on our website. I get a lot of those. My team always sends them to me. So, we get a lot of messages that way. It depends what state you're in, but it depends, who you are. If you're a veteran and you're a veteran group, I give you guys first crack at, I put you ahead of everyone else to get a barrel pick from us. So those are my priorities for veterans. I only let veterans hand select barrels and get to own one of our Bardstown bourbon barrels. Only vets get to get those.
Okay.
No one else outside gets to own those. So we're going to be launching a barrel program here pretty soon for a private barrel program for them. But other stores, it depends, it kind of depends what state they're in, and it all kind of depends on relationships. But we're crazy booked out with single barrels, which is amazing. But that's kind of the best thing I could say is just reach out to us and let me know who you are, a little bit about yourself, and I'll try to get you the best thing I can, what we have at the time, and but either way, everything that leaves the distillery has to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
If it's not phenomenal, we don't even release it. So,
Okay.
so
Well, I can attest to the fact that everything I've tasted is truly phenomenal.
well,
Richard, I want to thank you a lot,
Appreciate
man.
you,
I
man.
really appreciate
Yeah.
your time. Thanks for
yeah,
joining me.
thank you.
Let's get this bourbon flowing.